article from Nielsen.com saying, titled "Black Impact Consumer Categories Where African Americans Move Markets."
Let me stop right there. You know, African Americans spend like, I think like $1.1 trillion a year, and none of that shit. Like only like 1% of that is on like black owned businesses and black companies. They rather go spend their money. Get this on a white man out here buying Gucci. A nigga don't even like y'all. He wants y'all back in slavery, making his stuff. Y'all can buy it again.
And yet again, that was another segment of random information from my little brother. He does this every week. Swear to God, he does this every week. It's very insightful.
I did not. That's statistic though. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's something I've been painfully aware of for the last couple years. But in this article, it basically breaks down the actual spending habits of African Americans and how it helps and moves the market itself. So it states, and this is from February of last year, February 15th to be exact, of 2018. Article starts off by saying, Black consumers are speaking directly to brands in unprecedented ways and achieving headlines, making results. Throughout 2017, popular brands witnessed the power of Black Twitter and the brand impact of social conscious Black consumers. Throughout social media, Black consumers have brokered a seat at the table and are demanding that brands and marketers speak to them in ways that resonate culturally and exponentially. If these brands want their business, and with African Americans spending $1.2 trillion annually,
oh my God,
brands have a lot to lose. Okay, so before I carry on with this, as my little brother said, $1.2 trillion. Like he said, 1.1, but it's actually going up to 1.2, and it's probably going to get higher than that. And not even a quarter of that. Shit. I want to say like 0.1% of that is actually spent in the Black community. It's a very low number.
That's outrageous. That's completely outrageous.
It is. And I can't blame the people, but I can blame the people. Like, it's kind of hard.
On one side, people are allowed to go out and buy what they want, but on the other side, it's not exactly their fault. You have these businesses and media and everything pushing this social standard of what it means to be successful and what it means to ball out and everything, that they go out and buy these brand products, and now all of a sudden you're not contributing to these Black owned businesses. So
pretty much so I'm gonna finish this up, and then we're gonna actually dive deeper into it, because I got a lot to say about that. The article goes into more in depth into it by saying, in some cases, Black people represented more than 50% of the overall spending in key product categories. Examples of this are the $940 million on dry grains and vegetables in the U.S. alone in 2017, coming from Black people. So on that, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit later, we also represented about 147 million of the total spending in said category, which has recently made advancements in product creation to meet the demands of their diverse buyers. That is a lot of money. $941 million on vegetables and dry grains.
Right.
That is a lot. That is a lot. And it goes to break it down a little bit further. So African Americans or consumers of color, because it's what it's describing it as, spend about $817 million on baby food, $1.3 billion on personal soaps and bath needs, $774.1 million on air freshener and deodorizer, and $2.3 billion on self-stable juice and drinks.
Sounds to me that Black people are just clean.
As fuck. Not even like on a wipe my Jordans clean and kind of stun on you other broke niggas.
Hygiene.
Yeah, just general hygiene, and it's something I really love to see because beforehand, like generations past, really just ate whatever was there because that's all they had at that point.
Right.
So I can't really blame them for that. But as we kind of see a overwhelming amount of black people being more concerned with their health, trying to prevent themselves from getting diabetes, which is a very heinous disease that can cause a lot of complications in life, especially going on down the line. You don't want to get it too early and you don't want to get it too late, because if you get it too late, then there's not much you can do about it. So getting all these like juices that are natural, doesn't have all this sugar in it, like processed foods, they cutting that out. Getting more vegetables and grains, like these things are starting to help us grow physically. That's it. Just physically. I'm not getting into the rest of it, but just physically. Growing physically is a good start for all African Americans.
And it's nice to see the numbers reflect a more like health conscious attitude towards it.
That is true. That is true. I mean, a lot of black people a lot of black people that I have come into contact with don't even consider, like eating pork or eating beef a lot. They just kind of go with the flow and they kind of eat more lean meats, like they eat turkey instead of like beef when it goes to burgers and everything. And if they do eat beef, they only eat it like every once in a while because that stuff stays in your system for a longer period of time than any other meat.
Just like controlled consumption. It's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, in a nutshell. So, the article later goes on to state, mainstream manufacturers across other industries are also seizing the opportunity to create specific products that appeal to diverse consumers. Now, I want to just stop right there and call that complete bullshit. Anything that says any mainstream manufacturer that just sees an opportunity to appease other people for monetary gain is nothing but pandering.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I understand that how do you think all these people are making all this money? Like Old Spice wouldn't be as hot if it wasn't for like Terry Crews commercials. Nike wouldn't be this popping if it wasn't for Colin Kaepernick. Jordan would not even got off the ground if it wasn't for Michael Jordan. LeBron's, etc. They do not care about the struggle. They only care about the money.
Yeah.
Do you think Nike acts like they? Right. I don't know. It's crazy. Like I could just compare it to the All Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter bullshit. Oh, and just shit in general. Like everybody wants to be black until it actually matters. That's it. Just to appease the black people so they can spend more money.
Not easy to join the class until you actually have to.
Yeah, pretty much, and that's really, how do I put this? Really baffling that that's actually a thing.
Yeah, it's extremely sad. Like just seeing it actually everywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much, and it's I feel like we're the most. Okay, I can't say the most disrespected race, somewhat, but we're damn near close to being the most disrespected race on the face of this planet. But yet we're the one that's most imitated and most marketed towards.
It's sad because that imitation is only grown with like prosperity.
Oh yeah.
The more we actually like grow, the more this whole thing goes on.
Oh yeah. Like, you know how many YouTube tutorials I've seen of Asian men and white women and Asian women who just come up like, oh yeah, get your hair curled and like an afro, and I'm like,
no,
just stop.
Just
Granted,
thumbnail, be uncomfortable.
Yes, like granted, you can do whatever the hell you want to with your hair, because that's your hair. It's part of your body. Do what you do, boo. But don't expect that to get you the grand old black car that everybody so craves. Again, until it matters. Until it's
I really
time.
just enjoy the idea of the quote unquote black card.
Yeah. Yeah, why you think more white people are listening to rap music now? They
Right.
enjoy listening to the struggle, but they don't like living through the struggle.
I mean, we're one of the more higher quantity population on the planet right now. I mean, of course.
Shit, that is true. That is true. All right, so this is going to be nothing more than a reiteration. But African Americans have cornered the ethnic hair and beauty market, and this is really going to trigger me. Bringing up 54 million out of 63 million total industry spending in 2017, and I'm pretty sure that has grown far past this. $54 million to make your hair look white and still get disrespected by white people. Okay. $54 million to get your hair pressed, to get weave inserted into your hair, to make you look more presentable, just to be called a nigger in the next fucking sentence. Okay.
Do any of those statistics like also come with any explanations behind them, or is it just the statistics themselves?
Just the statistics.
Okay.
Not really an explanation behind it.
Kind of intrigued as to what they would have to say on each one of these subjects.
That would make sense, and that actually does make sense. Just off back, I don't understand it, and I will never understand it. Why we choose to try to monetize the color, like while people try to monetize the color of our skin. But I digress.
It's the same old oppression, same old shit.
In a nutshell, black shoppers spent $473 million on total hair care, a $4.2 billion industry, and made other significant investments in personal appearance products such as grooming aids, $128 million out of $889 million, in skincare preparations, $465 million out of $3 billion. Skincare preparation is nothing but a way to market yourself to everybody else. I don't care what nobody says. Like, you put on makeup and you're just marketing yourself to everybody else. You may say makeup makes you feel like, it makes me feel empowered.
I never buy that. Hear somebody say it, I never buy it.
No, it's just a bunch of dumb shit, and it's basically like me saying I'm buying this pair of Jordans or this Rolex or this Apple Watch or this insert random expensive piece of shit to make
Simply
myself look good.
I like it, bro.
Yeah, no, it's not because you like it, and it could be because you like it, but subconsciously you have to understand that what you're doing right then and there is to appease other people, to make people think that you are of a higher standard of living versus them. That's it.
That is actually it.
And then also with the skincare preparation, I want to actually go out on a limb and say at least half of that $465 million is probably skin bleach.
I really hope it's not. I really hope it's not.
I pray to God it's not. Because
I haven't heard much about it, so I thought the whole skin bleaching scenario was dying down, but I really hope it's not.
No. That actually is not dying down. It's one of those things that are generally picking up more steam as you kind of go ahead, because again, we demonize the melanin in our bodies just to try to appease the non-melanin, because they're jealous because we have something that they don't, or they lack, in a nutshell.
I wish the scientific advantages of just having more melanin in your skin was pushed more. That way people could just understand and appreciate how great it is to have the skin you have.
I mean, if they did that, they wouldn't be making $465 million
Right.
for this bullshit. Like, just keep us blind, and we will always spend the money. That's it. That's it. Like, and like personal appearance products, really. I mean, I understand grooming aid because I do gotta shave my beard and everything, but like,
Right. Those are just that's back to the whole basic hygiene thing. It's necessary. It's good to see those numbers, but when you get to things past that, it starts getting excessive.
exactly. Man, oh shit. African Americans make up 14% of the United States population. Yet 56% of us are in prison. I'm gonna let that sink in for like anybody who actually gives a fuck. 56, about 56. I haven't seen the number recently, but last time I checked, it was about 56% of the 14%. Like, how the entirety of a fuck has a minority at any given time in history outweighed the majority in an incarceration rate? It's like a damn near 3 to 5.
Coincidence.
No, it's not. It's damn near a 3 to 5 ratio, and it's not even like complete math. It's like dangerously close to being damn near every 5 black people is incarcerated for every 2 white people. Like,
absolutely, like, rage-inducingly ridiculous.
yes, it is. But again, that's oh man, this is actually turned into a rant real quick. But just to kind of give a basic overstatement of this is the small percentage of African Americans that do make up the United States population, which again is 14%, and is probably going to rise to maybe 14.5, 15% in the next couple years, influence the overall spending of everything. Like, personal hygiene is basically pushed by African Americans because, I don't know, it's kind of beat into you as a kid because if your ass didn't get in that damn shower, you was getting knocked the fuck out. Like, oh, if you want me to be 100,
It's either you catch it from the parents or catch it from literally everybody else.
everybody else, grandmothers included. But I mean, that's a generous trend because, like, to see that we spend about like $573 million on personal soaps and bath needs, another $54 million on female hygiene products, and another $61 million on men toiletries, actually does a lot in advancing the general growth of the African American people. Because first you have to get your body right before you can get your mind right. Sometimes it kind of flips, it depending on the situation.
And it's that basic concept.
I think I was a little bit too negative at the start of this, so
Why are you saying that?
because I just started ragging on shit. I just kind of started. It's just the. I'm gonna get into it a little bit later. I'm gonna get to it a little bit later. I'm gonna finish up this topic and I'm gonna get straight into it. But
Alright.
then, all right. So with all that being said, like, just kind of dividing it down into those simple factors, you see how much like how much power the black dollar truly has to take industries that are leading like in billions of billions of dollars and pretty much taking up 50% at times, other times 32%, other times 30%, 25%. Like, these are not small numbers to like sneeze at, considering that African Americans only make up 14%.
And to think if you put these, like, this spending back into, like, black-owned business, imagine how big of an economical shift that would have.
Oh, it would have a astonishingly big economical shift, especially in, just in the black community alone. So take the $474 million that you take for hair care products, give it to the African American men and women who actually have innovated products that help sustain and keep up natural hair, so that you don't have to overheat your hair and risk losing it later on in life. So you don't have to like do this, that, and the third, and you don't have to necessarily cut it unless you want to, and just kind of keep it flowing and everything. Just take that $473 billion that we spend annually on just hair care products. It's just hair care products alone, and give it back to the black community in that way. Then we could actually become more of a substantial threat in the political game. Because the more money you make, the higher class that you are economically, the more representation that you will tend to pull in congressional meetings or like just in politics in general. So they're just kind of something to ponder on and something to kind of deep, like, sew it to the back of your mind. Also, man, this is actually pretty crazy. Black consumers spend $810 million on bottled water.
Wow.
810, like, that's absolutely insane. But like, I mean, I could kind of get that. I don't like drinking tap water.
Yeah, that's fair.
That shit kind of trifling sometimes. Like, especially with the shit going down in Flint, Michigan. I wouldn't.
Right. I don't understand how all of our eyes are on it, but nothing is changing.
Oh, it's because it's generally how it goes. So, like, my brother told me about the bystander effect, right? So, you basically have a system. This is what the bystander effect is. I'm probably gonna get into this on a later episode, but basically, the bystander effect is if you walk into a room with 15 people and randomly start beating the shit out of somebody, right? Nobody there is actually going to help you until somebody else tries to help you. But everybody in there is not going to help you because nobody else is moving a foot. And that's where we are with Flint, Michigan. We all know the problem. We see the problem. We've seen the results. We've seen the damage. But nobody's making a move. Exactly. So it's a case of I don't want to stick my neck out for some shit that I don't necessarily have to offer. You know.
Or at least not until somebody else does.
Exactly. It's like almost I won't even say a struggle war. Is almost essentially, I mean, in a nutshell, it's just basically like who's going to donate to who and what and why. And then it's what I'll do. Right. It's kind of like cancer research. Nobody was donating to cancer research 10 years ago because it wasn't a major problem back then. Well, I'll say give or take 10, 20 years ago. But now everybody is because somebody's trying to innovate it and things of this nature, you know. Let's see. $587 million on refrigerated drinks. Women fragrances is about $150 million out of $679 million. Watches and timepieces, which is really upsetting, is $60 million out of $385 million. That's not bad, but at the same time, yeah.
I don't know. That's actually pretty big.
It is. It's
from one demographic alone, though.
Yeah, and to be honest, rappers nowadays don't help that out. They just kind of. I feel like rappers nowadays are kind of just set there and placed there to influence everybody else in the black community to build up every other community except for the black community.
Yeah.
It's like go broke for everything that you can possibly get and then spend that, what you do have, and what little you do have, on everybody but black people.
Right.
So that's astonishing. That is
numbers.
That is astonishing. Oh my fucking Jesus. All right. So some more shit. So, and it kind of goes into some other kind of dives deeper into it. So, of the 14% of the population that we actually sustain, $54.4 billion is spent on ethnic hair and beauty aids out of the total of $63.5 million.
Wow.
That's an actual 85.65% total spending attributed to black consumers.
Jesus Christ.
Does anybody see a problem? Does nobody see a problem with that?
That is a gigantic problem.
There really is. Like, we have so much influence, but we do nothing with it. Like, if you can see that the black dollar does this much for one industry alone, it is well worth over like 5 point some odd billion dollars, and we're taking up about 85% of a total spending that equals like 63.5%. I mean 63.5 million. That's pretty substantial, considering that not every other ethnic group, no other ethnic group technically even goes that deep into hair or beauty products.
They really don't.
Like,
imagine funneling all of that money back into like investments and actual business ownership. What kind of impact that would have?
it will have a substantial impact. So so realistically, so let's kind of put it in perspective. The $54.4 million that we spend on ethnic hair and beauty products, ergo your makeup, your eyeliner, like your lip gloss, your whatever the shit that women put on their lips to make it look glossy and shit, whatever the shit is, and the weave, the bundles, like all that shit. Take that $54.4 million and apply it to opening up a black school and exclusively hiring teachers that are black. And that sounds fucked up, but that is realistically how it should be. And if you kind of dove deep into like 1800s and 1900s where we had these schools, you've seen less amount of, I guess, high school dropouts than as you do now. So, and I don't attribute that to just white teachers not knowing how to govern black students, but that's pretty much how it is. Like, if you boil it down to the common fact, white teachers don't know how to address black children a good majority of the time, because they're not in the same bracket, they're not in the same mindset, they don't understand things the same. Like Becky, Becky can't say Tyrone stop doing that, but you don't understand why Tyrone is doing this. You don't understand like the motif behind it.
And honestly, I think it's like a lot of black, well, not black, but just general white legislation, like having this impact that creates this like small like segregation, I would suppose, between the learning patterns of a black person and a white person.
You ain't never lying.
Like you see more inner city schools that are more like black populated, and they have what subpar teachers, subpar curriculums, and then you go to these like white-owned public schools, and it's completely different. And then you wonder why there's such a huge disparity.
I got a perfect example there. So, back when I was in high school, 2011, right? I went to Riverview Gardens. This is a notoriously bad, and it's not even in the school city, but it's a notoriously bad North County school. So, and adjacent to that, you had like Rittner, right? And that's a majority white school, right? And you can kind of see the difference, because like going to Rittner or just seeing people like children from Rittner that come to Riverview to like visit, or they come through, or like people then transfer to Rittner, they come back and then they say things like, well, they have upgraded textbooks, we have iPads there, and then and then like at Riverview, we're stuck with outdated textbooks that only, and that dead ass in 2011 only went up to the Bush administration the first 4 years.
Wow.
From 96 to 2000. That's it. No. From 2000 to 2004. And that's when it stopped. They didn't even mention Obama. And this was smack dab, damn near in the middle of his first run as president, which is understandable. At the same time, why aren't we learning about this? Like, I guess you could say that we could have just used the internet, but like the internet is not always correct. So,
but that's still not how it works. It's like our public school system. It needs to be accessible.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. So we out here asking for $5.9 billion for a wall that will do absolutely fucking nothing for this country, but segregate it even more. We should be applying that towards fresh water for Flint, Michigan. More equalized and equally based curriculum for all schools, not just private schools, not inner city schools, not public schools, all schools. So it's really crazy. It's really crazy. Like,
I really don't get why we can put billions of dollars towards a meaningless wall, but we can't. But still, school programs are getting cut for funding.
Swear.
Like what?
Swear, man. Like, I just see it, and realistically, I just see it as a ploy, right? As you can see, like, any after-school program that is cut from an inner-city school directly leads to more, like, a higher incarceration rate, right?
No, it's totally a ploy, and like the saddest thing is, maybe 5 to 10 years ago, it wasn't that like obvious, but now it's just blatantly obvious.
I mean, of course. So it's like you get rid of the basketball programs, you get rid of the band, you get rid of X, Y, and Z. And what do these young black men have to do? Like, people have to understand, black men black people in general are just naturally aggressive. We need something to take this aggression out of us. Like, that is physically a part of our genetic buildup. It's aggression, pure, unadulterated aggression. Why do you think that 95% of the time we dominate in most sports that we play? That's pure on aggression. Testosterone, estrogen, or whatever you want to call it, put forth into our genetic buildup that gets us to that point. So then you take those programs outside of the school and they have nothing else to do but to push that aggression onto everybody else. And that's when the problem ensues, because now that they're pushing their aggression on everybody else, that's when the law gets involved in this whole bunch of other dumb shit. So again, I pose the question, why can't we take that $54.4 million that we're spending annually? Like, this is a yearly thing. This is not something that happened in 2010 and didn't happen in 2012. This is something that's been happening year in and year out. And it just increases. And it's looking like it's not going to decrease. So we might as well put... No, it's not. And we might as well just put that towards something that's meaningful. Because again, the power of the black dollar is already defined. Like, these studies are 100% factual. Like, you could go anywhere and you will see the impact. Like, right now, I went inside a Walmart not even like 3 fucking hours ago. You know how many people was coming out there with TVs, laptops, video game systems, controllers, like hair care products and all this other dumb shit? Instead of actually trying to put that toward, like, putting some of that money towards a college degree, like a fund for their child's college education, or even putting some unseen amount towards any, like, relative necessity for a child's future. But no, it's okay to get him a fucking Xbox One X that costs $500 because that's it. I have $7,000 worth of tax money that I have to spend because I don't know what else to do in my life other than spend all the money that I have and not even think about saving. What the fuck is saving? Oh, it's a foreign idea to niggas because niggas don't know how to save a goddamn thing, not even they damn self.
And once again, it's back to that, like, education issue. Like, personal finance needs to be a more, like, cultivated idea in our education system.
It really does. And sadly, this is something that was taken out of Riverview the year after I took it. So Riverview had completely taken out. Does no longer exist, at least to my knowledge. But I took it in sophomore year because it was a part of the curriculum, and then I went back junior year and it was no longer there. It was no longer offered.
That's disgusting.
It is. And it's taught you so much. And plus, the people that I was in class with didn't even pay attention because you literally learn how to write a check inside of that class. And then 4 years later, nobody knows how to write a check. Like, Like, are you absolutely fucking stupid? But
And it's easy when you like look at those kind of statistics because it's like what 45% of people just in general don't even have $500 saved up for an emergency.
oh yeah, no, just it's sickening. That's actually sickening. And to be honest, that's not even like a black thing. That's just a general thing.
No, it's just a general thing.
Yeah, so like, and I think it's just a generational thing in all honesty. But it is what it is. At this point, you can only say so much to people before you just think about just saying fuck it. Because people are going to do what they want to do. And it's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. Oh, what else? Oh man, that's pretty much just the major points of it. That's really like a short topic that really I feel like really needed to be discussed, and we're actually 40 minutes into that topic. God damn!
Wow,
wow, that's a long time.
Like I can't lie either. Like I contribute to those same numbers, but at the same time, I am more conscious of my spending when I go out and do stuff like that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like when it comes down to like getting spices and general things, like I get a lot of hair care products, but I would rather get it from like a black owned business, a black owned company than anywhere else. So I mean that's just me.
Since, like I guess quote unquote smaller businesses like that use more natural products, they're a lot safer. And then, like, it's also from a black-owned person, so you know they understand, and you have it.
Pretty much. Like, again, we just need to get back to a point where our main focus is the African-American community and not trying to appease everybody else. Like, I feel like all this spending that we do is just to make ourselves look like presentable. And like you see it a lot, like the pure fact that most schools actually ban, and this is a real thing, really real thing, 100% factual. Some schools actually prohibit the presentation of natural black hair.
What?
Yeah. There's schools out there that say that you cannot wear your afro in any way, shape, or form. No dreadlocks, no boxes, none of that.
No dreadlocks. That's the thing that I know. But like any sort of just natural black hairstyle is just no.
Nope. Not sponge twist, not finger twist, not 2-strand twist. You have to have your hair basically straight as Becky's ass to be considered, quote unquote, a functioning member of the school.
Acceptable, just baseline acceptable.
Yeah. So then I always pose the question, like, why can I not wear my hair in twist or in dreads or in an afro, but Mary Sue over here can wear her hair as different colored fucking hair? Like she could have a pink highlight in her hair that stretches all the way to her ass crack, but that's not unruly. That's not unethical. That's not something
that's not distracting in any way.
Right? Like what type? This bitch has an entire highlighter in her head that is not distracting anybody, but yet my hair is a distraction.
That changes spectrum order every week because she wants to.
Pretty much. So that's flapper. But again, it is. So again, the power of the black dollar is there. The statistics are there. The amount of money that is spent is there. What we choose to do with it is what is the problem.
All the factors but action are there.
In a nutshell. Shit. So apparently 38% of African Americans between the ages of 18 and 34 and 41% of 35-year-olds and older expect brands they buy to support social causes. That is a very weird expectation, and I'm gonna kind of dive deep into something that I really didn't even want to talk about at this point. But black people need to stop expecting shit from other people.
True.
You clearly see that we're not getting anywhere by sitting there and waiting on handouts. If you're expecting Nike to actually give a fuck about black lives, you have to make them see the value of a black life. You cannot sit there and just say like, oh, I'm just waiting on Nike to sit here and like acknowledge me as an actual human being and realize that me being shot by a cop, unarmed by the way, is a wrong thing to do. But no, like this whole thing with Colin Kaepernick was just a whole pandering. It was just pandering bullshit. Like Nike, like Nike did not do anything about this shit 5 years ago when not Trayvon Martin, but Michael Brown was shot and killed right here in Ferguson, or 2 years prior to that, or a year prior to that, when Trayvon Martin was gunned down in Florida. Where was that then? But we were still spending money on Nike and Jordan and Gucci and buying these bundles from these. Come on now. But we expect them to actually give a shit about our social causes.
Yeah. It's literally just marketing.
Marketing 101.
Right. And then years from now, when it finally completely blows over, like everybody will be back to, like buying it anyway.
Pretty much. Very sickening. Very sickening. But
right. You literally just cause chaos and then I have even more business.
In a nutshell, that's all you do is just play the system. That's all you do is just realistically just play the system. Just give them what they want so that they buy more. And this is where I'm gonna get to it, and this is gonna piss some people off. But I feel like this is where brands are going now with the inclusion of like more LGBT centric products and like feminist centered ads, and it's pandering. It's nowhere near what they expect, like these groups expect it to be. They literally do not give a flying fuck about your struggle as a woman, a gay man, a trans man, or whatever. They do not give a fuck.
Gillette does not have a single care at all in the world about toxic masculinity. It just had everybody's eyes on them. So anybody that is buying the product buys more of it. Anybody that doesn't. It doesn't matter. They're making money either way. Whether it's like from their actual product or just the ad revenue.
Exactly. So you sitting here, and I'm just sitting there. I've been kind of saying the same sentiment for the past 2 years. Everything that they're doing with inclusion now is nothing but pandering. It's bullshit ass pandering to get monetary gain. Oh, let's add a gay guy to this ad because why not? We need more money. But nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see the bad part of it. They want to see, oh, we're getting represented. You're getting represented for the wrong reason. They actually do not show anything in regards to the mental health or the emotional well-being of homosexual people or transgender people. Outside of just money, they don't give a fuck. Like, they're gonna put somebody there and that's it, and it's just for you to come in and buy their shit. They do not give a flying fuck about your struggle. Let me put it like,
through exploitation is not good.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people don't get that.
It's just because people don't want to get it. It's just people don't want to get it. So that's the end of that topic. I don't know. I was lackluster on that one, but this next one, I don't know. I was lackluster on the power of a black dollar, and I'm gonna kind of dive deep into it after I get off of my high horse with this one. But let's talk about a topic that has been itching my fucking balls for the past 2 days.
Oh no.
Ladies and gentlemen, put it on my second episode. It was my second or third episode where I talked about racism and if black people can be racist. And if you didn't understand or didn't comprehend what I was saying, I was a little bit confused because I was like half sleep and shit. So I really wasn't saying the shit correctly. But in a different universe where the term of race was sustained and created by African Americans, and they were the vast majority, and they benefited from the mass incarceration of Caucasian people and other people that were not black, non-black people, and the manipulation of non-black people, and the constant beratement and everything in between of non-black people, then yes, in that universe alone, can black people be racist. But this is not the ultimate Marvel universe. This is not DC Rebirth universe. This is not Earth 2125720. This is this is Earth. This is the Earth we live in. And in this Earth, no matter what political bullshit that people try to say, to like try to spin to have it acceptable to call everybody racist, there is no physical way that anybody of a darker hue can be racist. Okay, so let me explain why. All right, let's dive deep into it. As I've clearly stated, and I'm gonna go back into this again. Racism, as it is dictionarily defined, is a prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed towards someone of a different race based on the belief that one race is superior. All right, so if you haven't understood that, let's highlight the word race. Race is actually not what you think it is. So, I'm heated. Oh,
I'm excited to hear this.
All right, so let's actually go into find a definition of race, because I'm just debunk this bullshit right now. And if you don't like it, you kiss my fucking ass. I don't give a fuck. Oh,
they already have the disclaimer.
Oh yeah, and just a quick disclaimer: after this portion, let me give you the time code. After 50 minutes and 45 seconds, you better turn it off if you do not want to hear this. Trigger warning. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, you've been warned. Race is a noun, a competition between runners, horses, vehicles, boats, etc. to see which is the fastest in covering a set course. Second definition: a strong or rapid current flowing through a narrow channel in a sea or river. It can also be used as a verb. To compete with another or others to see who's the fastest at covering a set course or achieving an objective, or moving or progress swiftly or at full speed. Okay. So what part of those four definitions entailed about the ethnicity of somebody? When? What did I just, can you be black and be flowing down a fucking narrow channel of a sea or a river? You can, but that's nonsensical, and I don't know what the fuck you on it. Race was a ideal that was created by a European man to find a way to scientifically market racism. That's it. It was a ideal that this man randomly picked a fucking African slave, a Asian person, and like a random ass Native American, got them all together and started examining each and every part of their body. Of that study, he concluded that African American people, because our noses and heads were a lot bigger than Caucasian Americans, that we were dumber. We were less intelligent and more savage than Caucasian people. And I'm going to say it again. We were less intelligent and more savage than Caucasian people. The same thing was said about Asians. The same thing was said about Native Americans. So who the entirety of a fuck gave you the idea that that was actually something to be said? And that wasn't even a fucking scientific, that wasn't even scientifically proven. That was a fucking theory that everybody just ran with because that sounded the most interesting. So no, the term race is not meant to fucking describe an ethnic group. All right? That's number one. Number two, the system of racism has always been and always will be a system that benefits white people. It's a system created by white people to benefit white people. If you do not understand that simple fact, I do not know what is clinically wrong with you. Like, white people and white-minded people need to actually understand that to get in through their thick skull that me calling you a stupid ass white person or saying that's some white people shit or insert random borderline quote unquote racist remark that a black person or a non-white person can say towards a white person is not racist, because I do not benefit from saying that. You, on the other hand, do benefit from me going to prison, because that prison that you just hit me to is nothing but legalized slavery that allows you to benefit from this, because that's a big company that gets money from commercializing incarceration just to get free labor. That way you can enjoy the constant shit. I'm so upset that I can't even finish the sentence. You can enjoy these constant and deliberate things that you like, these bullshit that you partake in. Yet I'm racist for saying or doing something that's controversial towards a white person? Okay. Alright. I had to step away from the mic real quick. I was going off. Oh, Jesus.
It's alright.
And for people who do not understand, there is no, and I'm going to get into this really, really quickly. There is no such thing as reverse racism. Because to reverse something means that you do the opposite. And if you want to go, and to be honest, that in and of itself is a fucking contradiction. So if racism is nothing but the prejudice or discrimination towards another group, ethnic group of people, why the entirety of a fuck would it be a reverse of that? That means that it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. 2 + 2 does not equal 5, dumbass. It equals 4. And racism is directly correlated with white people because you were the ones who created it. Now, let's take a step back. Let's take a step back in time to a grand old time of segregation. Let's go even further. Slavery. We, as African descendants, not even African Americans, were not even treated as people, but yet we made up a good amount of the population. This is where we get into a dilemma, because people are actually foolish enough to think that reverse racism is an actual thing, that black people can actually be racist. Because I say something negative about white people does not mean that I am racist. What do I benefit from this in any way? Commercially, economically, personally, no. So me saying that white people are stupid, me saying that white people can't dance, me saying shit along the line of pointing out some obvious white stereotype, like white people can't cook, they don't season their food, ... insert any random fucking stereotype, does not make me racist. That is physically impossible. You really want me to break down what racism truly is? What's at the core of racism? It is the belief that white people are superior to everybody else based on a theory. A fucking theory. It wasn't even tested. This nigga just grabbed 3 random people, measured their brain, measured their head size, measured their arm size, and they just automatically assumed that we are more dangerous and less intelligent than Caucasian people. That in and of itself is something that really bothers me, because how in the entirety of a fuck can we be more savage than the people who massively chose to kill everything, like to kill an entire ethnic group of people in certain parts of the world just because they needed free labor, because they were not content with doing things themselves, but just wanted free labor.
This is multiple times times throughout history.
Multiple. So if you want to talk about mass genocide, all right, so the recorded number of African Americans who died during the Triangle Trade is about recorded at like 9 million. That's documented. This is something you would not find out unless you dive deep into African American history. Do you know how many Africans chose death over actually being enslaved? Do you know how many African Americans and non-white people who were actually killed based off this conquering mentality? So, if anything, the most savage ethnic group in history is Caucasian Americans and European Americans. So you can't sit there and tell me that I'm racist for saying any of this, anything regarding this, when the fucking proof is in the pudding. Christopher Columbus, somebody that white people praise and they glorify this man, almost put an entire group of people to extinction just because he could. When have we ever done that? When has the African American people ever done something as evil and as selfish as that? Shit, my neck hurts. All right.
Yeah, no, you were not lying when you said you're heated about this one.
Heated, like just heated. Like, controversy does not equal racism. Because if that was the case, and before anybody sits there and tries to tell me, okay, before I even get into what I'm about to say, for people to sit there and say that the N-word is not a racial term, should really pick up a book and read it. Really should pick up a book and read it. It was a term. It was a derogatory term. Yeah, it's a derogatory term used to describe a group of people. To undermine and demean us, to kind of present us in a lesser light. But yet it's not wrong for you to say that. Like, seriously? Okay. All right. So, for all those who are wondering why this actually came about, I actually had somebody that I know collar something as reverse racism. As a white man said that this video of a black man depicting him hanging a white person was reverse racist. How? It's controversial at best, but how is it reverse racist? It's murder. Murder is murder, no matter what.
Reverse racism? Ain't that the same thing like reverse genocide?
Steven, get out of here. Get your stupid ass out of here.
He has a point, though.
That is true. Two non-existent phrases that are just made, I guess, just made to make white people feel better about themselves.
That's all it is.
Generally, just white men, because, like,
damn.
No, like, if you want me to be completely honest, straight white men are the most butthurt over the past, I want to say 4 to 5 years, because their power is slowly getting away from them. The things that made them invincible are slowly starting to creak away from them. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, right now we live in a state of 2019 and later on to 2018 that if a Caucasian man were to attempt to massively murder people, he would be arrested and charged with the full criminal outbringing. And that he's crazy bullshit does not work anymore. Because there's no amount of mental illness that's going to make you decide to go and kill a bunch of people. If that means you need to either fix yourself, get on medication, or kill yourself. Point blank, period.
Look, man, I know you're talking about telling people to kill themselves, but I tried that, man.
Get out of here.
I don't recommend it.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
You tried suicide one time. I tried suicide one time and almost died. But I ain't never trying that again.
Get out of here.
I ain't ready to see Jesus
Get out of
yet.
here.
He ain't ready to see me yet.
Get out of here.
But I don't think I'm gonna be up there. I done made too many jokes about homie, and I made jokes about Jewish people. I think I got banned from there, and then Satan banned me from hell. So I don't know where I'm gonna go.
Get your fucking ass out. Get out of here.
I think I'm gonna hunt you for the rest of your life. If I die before you, I'm hunting you.
Get your ugly ass on. I actually feel a lot better. It's something that really has triggered me for like the past couple of days. Yeah,
is it the video that I'm thinking of that caused what video in particular?
Oh, it's not even a particular video. It was just somebody who said something at my school, and it just sparked this rage in me. And I chose not to go off because I'm like, we're in school, and I'm not trying to make a big racial issue about this thing, and it gets sticky for everybody. At that point, because it's like you gonna have people like, why is this nigga overreacting? The only thing he said was ... and then other people come like, damn, that's fucked up. You can't say ... So I just didn't even want to deal with all that.
An overreaction instead of just a proper reaction.
Pretty much. Man. Oh, dear Jesus. So, in short, if you haven't been paying attention, or if my copious amount of banshee screaming and yelling did not burst your eardrums open and cause you to be deaf at this point, what I'm saying is reverse racism does not exist. It does not. There's no way that a black person can be racist because the basis of racism is thinking that because you are the ethnicity that you are, you're superior to other people. When in all actuality, black people have been conditioned for the past 400 years to think that we are inferior to everybody else because of the blackness, because of the color of our skin, because of the texture of our hair, and the physical appearance that we have. So you cannot solidly sit there and try to tell me that I can be racist because I think that I'm better than white people. I do not think that I'm better than white people. I think I'm on the same playing field as white people because we're all humans. At the end of the day, that's what we are. We're humans. I don't give a flying fuck who the hell you think you are, or what status that you have, or what the color of your skin is. We're all humans at the end of the day. We bleed the same. We piss the same. We pretty much do everything the same except exist on the same tax bracket and share the same privileges. So me as a black man,
all that matters is green.
Oh yeah, no, just all that matters is green, which directly ties back into the first topic. But all right, we've been going at it for like, it's funny how it went full circle, but it's been going on for an hour. We've been recording for an hour and 6 minutes, almost an hour 7 minutes.
I'm glad you got that off your chest, though.
Oh yeah, I just really had to.
I've been meaning to hear from somebody.
Oh yeah, so that's something I really need. I feel like it's something that really needs to be talked about, and just getting that bit of anger out of me is more prone to get me to actually teach people the difference between racism and discrimination. Like my friend Justin, I had to blatantly tell him that, and it's just a personal story, just to end it to close out the episode. It's a personal story. Basically, in a nutshell, I explained to my friend Justin that I do not like Caucasian women. Never have, never will, never have an aspiration to date a Caucasian woman. And my whole explanation...
I just mean that in a romantic sense, right? Like, it's not like you're just disgusted by any white woman you see. No, like, I'm not romantically or sexually attracted to white women. That's pretty much the basis of that. That's it. I don't find white women disgusting. I find some of them to be annoying, but then I also find the equally as amount as, like, I'll say it like this. I find every person on this world to be annoying. I just have to figure out how slightly less annoyed I am of you. You get what I'm saying? Right.
So, in a nutshell, what it ended up being is like I'm a jokester. I make a lot of jokes. So as I'm going through this, and I said, "Damn, the only reason I would," and this is actually something I may do, but the only reason I would go with a Caucasian woman is just to get my credit score up. It's a joke, clearly, because not all Caucasian women, not all Caucasian people have good credit scores, and there's some black people that have good credit scores, but it's clearly a joke. And he's saying,
It's obvious.
"Oh yeah, it's just a general trope that I just poke fun at." So his response to this is like, "Hey, that's kind of racist," and I'm like, "No. You cannot collar me for something that I physically cannot be. I did not say in any way, shape, or form that that black women are better than white women. I didn't say that I'm better than white men. I just clearly stated a general fact, or like not even a general fact, but a general opinion that I have. That's it. Realistically, that was it. And then trying to break it down to him it was just crazy. It was just crazy.
Is it biased? Yes. If it's a personal opinion, it has. Is it?
That's all it can be. It's just bias. But with that being said, we're going to get out of here, you guys. We've been going at it for an hour. This is my first podcast, going over an hour. So, again, like, comment, and subscribe. Well, let me get to that in a little bit. First, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be talking about next week. Hopefully some of you guys can join. If not, I'll be rocking by myself or the same two people that's been on the last two episodes. But next week we're going to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, which this is probably going to be a 2 to 3 week discussion. I'm not just going to leave it in one episode and just leave it at that. Episode 8 is going to be about parenthood in the black community.
Oh.
Yes. It's something that I've been wanting to talk about, and something that I dearly have to talk about right now, because as it stands right now, we see more of a shift in the way black men are aiming towards their children. You know what I'm saying? Versus like in the 90s or like the late 80s, early 90s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like we're definitely going to talk about that. But that's next week's episode. I'm closing it out, guys. Remember, like, comment, subscribe if you want to hear more of this content. And if you haven't already, if you haven't liked, commented, and subscribed, which I'm not going to continuously say that, but if you haven't done either of those, you will definitely love. And if you don't really like the podcast, and if you don't really like the ideal of a podcast, I actually just started uploading gameplay. My first gameplay video went up at about 6 o'clock. Well, 7 o'clock. So go ahead and check that out. It's a Monster Hunter video. Part 2 will be coming soon after. It took me a long time to edit that. So it's going to be coming like next week before the podcast.
Good old 2 piece and a biscuit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So go ahead and slap that like button. Share this video with your friends if this is something that you're really interested in. And support your boy on Patreon if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to do it, hey, I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to put a gun to your head and tell you to donate your money to a nigga that you don't even know. But with that being said, I'm out of here. This is Black Mac.
For having me on.
Oh, man, anytime, man. Anytime that I could support, use my platform, use this platform or any other platform to support a fellow black artist or just a fellow black person in general, I'll use that as a way to boost up everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. I'm glad for having you. So, again, this is Black Mac and
Ursus.
signing out.
See you guys later.
Oh, yeah.